Hello all. This is week 1 of a new set, and as we're now into March, I think it would be nice to concentrate on flowers for a while as they come along, and hopefully they will soon start coming along. There are many ways in which to portray flowers, so we'll be going through various stages of that. And using our watercolours and maybe some line and wash, but mostly watercolour. And I make no excuses today for painting snowdrops again. They're still around in abundance in my garden and looking good, better than they were, and not in the snow anymore. So I'm going to paint them loosely, along with some catkins, as you see here, and some little seeds. And I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen. I'm not going to draw, so I've just got out some colours that I know I like and look good together, and I'm just going to allow the paint to guide the picture to an extent. So as I say, I don't have an exact plan, and I therefore won't be talking through it quite so much as I usually do, because I'll need to sort of concentrate and see what sort of happens as we go along. That doesn't sound difficult, does it? Okay, so these are the colours that I've got out. Lots of colours, lots of background colours as well. So that's what I'm going to rely on quite a lot today. And these, I've got several brushes out because again I'm not exactly sure which brushes I'm going to be using. But you obviously, if you do this, can choose your own colours and your own subject. It doesn't have to be snowdrops, but I think they're worthy of another go. So let's see. I think I'll start with the little catkins. I've got them set up in front of me as well as down here because they're not looking right for painting on the flat like that. Okay, so I'm just going to... Nice clean water, you need lots of nice clean water to start with. So I think if I start here I'll be in a good position for you to see. So I'm actually just going to drop a little bit of water here and there to start me off painting these little seeds. Pop the water, just tip, and you'll be able to see where the water sits. Here is some dry areas of paper and some dampened paper, so that the little seed heads are going to float part way in the wetted area, like this. Here. Working wet on wet and wet on dry. As possible. I'm just touching a little bit of red into there and some ultramarine blue to give a little bit of depth, so not too much. That in a bit. The stalks won't go on until the very end, so it isn't going to look as it should for quite a while yet. But I'm actually going to let some of this float into a background and start putting my background in as I go. the little seed heads to float into the background. I'm just not touching. Bad start. I think I might just create one here. Now I need to go on to these little catkins, which are quite dark in colour and got lots of colour in them, which is quite nice. But I'm going to give them a nice base of a... I'm not sticking to reality particularly. A little light start. And umber. Float in the water, making nice shapes and not touching too much, not going back in all the time, trying to make it do something that I want it to do rather than what it wants to do. And a bit of dark. Again, using the ultramarine blue. Stalk on later. Yeah. Looking all right. Now I need to start putting some background there. Going to be brave. I'm using some of the jewels colours. This is aqua green. And mingle with some of the other colours that I've already popped down. Seeing what happens. Not very relaxing music. Shape into the whole thing now. I have sort of an idea of the shape, the end result that I need in the way of shape, I think. Too big, because starting off small is always a good idea when you're doing something that you're maybe not too sure about and you don't know what's going to happen, because with using lots of water and allowing the paint to do its own and make its own way, it can become weak if you're not careful. So I'm not looking for realism at all, I'm just indicating loosely what I see in front of me and letting the paint make its own way. I quite like what's happening there. Now I need to think about the Snowdrop. Where might I like that Snowdrop to go? Well, for a start, I think I'll try for a little bud here by lifting. So a piece of tissue to keep your brush dry, and just indicating some light there where there may be perhaps a little soft bud. Later. Right, so now I need to try to create a full-blown snowdrop, maybe sitting here by the side of that one. And so it's a matter of painting negatively around that shape that I've got in front of me there. I'm using a large brush because that way I'll not get fussy with it and not look for proper detail and too much precision. That's still damp. I've got to make sure I don't end up with some hard edges around there, and just use this background colour to show up the lovely light and the white in my snowdrop. Put some purple shadow in it. Bring that colour back down that I've already been using. Just letting that go now. Around that area a little bit to bring that little light one up that I was trying to, in a way. There's a little one there that's starting to open. Good. Drop in, I think. There. Way, I think. And try here. Maybe there was a part of one, perhaps here. You don't ever know exactly what you're going to get until it dries. So I'm going to leave that nice dark patch there. I think I like it. Gives it some nice strength where I kind of need it. So don't judge until you've finished, and don't keep touching. Brushwork here as well. One more snowdrop up there, I think, and then I'm going to let it dry and pop in some. All that. To blend, it's the blends we're looking for as well, which are always so nice. The better everything is going to look. Tchaikovsky went down a peg or two there. Be happy with that. I think I'll stop and dry it off, and then see if I can put some finishing touches to it. Dry enough, I feel. So now we need to bring it together with some little stalks and anything else that seems to be done. So first you can use a tiny brush, you can use the sword brush. Too precise looking. Sword brush, I don't really like these little brushes too much. I like using the tip of this one. Some twiddly bits going on there as well. Feel it needs just a little bit more depth or something, pop it in, but try not to go back on yourself too much, because this isn't that sort of painting really. A bit of stalk for a minute, see where that goes in a minute. Now these need to be better. Difficult to leave a lot of it alone. The temptation is to go in and do what we know completely, but it's best just to let this loose picture speak for itself and try not to keep going back in and putting more and more detail in. You feel what you've done. Here that I just popped in while this was still wet with the other end of my brush, the handle end. To do in the way of that sort of thing. Do is it's too much, you can get a clean piece of tissue and just wipe away the ones that you're not so fond of. And if it doesn't come off, just dampen the tissue or get some sponge and just wipe some of those away. That's better. And then maybe a damp but not wet toothbrush. And let's put a little bit of on there. Actually taken half an hour, so that's not a bad little picture under stress. And I think the quicker There we are, that's the half an hour. So these don't take very long. So have a little think about what you're going to do. Have a little think about the colours that you're going to use. And just go for it, really. And don't judge it until it's dry. Don't keep touching it until it's dry, because it really will look a lot better when it is completely dry. This isn't yet. So perhaps I'll attach it and you can see what the end result's like. Or maybe I'll even paint some more. I'll have to see. But I quite like it. It is what it is. And the biggest tip, I think, is to not try to get too big with it. Create a nice subject in front of you so that you know what you're aiming for to an extent, but then allow it just to make its way on the page. Okay. If you get really into it and you want to do more, then you can fill your page a little bit more perhaps and do a bigger painting, and maybe just snowdrops. It doesn't have to be all the other things as well, or just twigs. You can put twigs in with it. You could do a bit of blowing, I guess, but create something with those colours or whatever colours you choose. But as this doesn't take very long, there are other ways that you can portray your snowdrops when you've got them in, or whatever you decide to paint. So maybe put them in a little pot. This is one I did earlier, but actually I quite like the idea of the informality of just popping them in that little tin. And when it was snowy a few days ago, not so long ago, I photographed the snowdrops outside in the snow, and of course they were all closed, and I've never painted all snowdrops closed before and just wanted to have a go at that. And it actually was quite a nice photograph, so I'll actually attach that photograph as well in case you would like to paint them in the snow and in a closed, cold situation. Okay? And that could have some white splattering on it as well, actually. So that's this week, and so I really do hope that you will. I know it's not for everyone, but as a matter of fact, if you just do it, you will learn a lot about the paint and the blendings and the leaving it alone situation, and not allowing yourself to keep on touching and putting the detail in. So do try and see what you come up with. And I shall very much look forward to seeing whatever that is. If it's just paint on paper, I enjoy looking at it, so please send. Don't think you've got to be, you know, a marvellous painter for me to be able to see your work and appreciate it and help you with it. Just send, you know, and let me see. Okay? Take care. Oh, but actually next week I'm hoping to be able to paint hellebores. They're looking a little bit sorry for themselves in the garden still at the moment. So what's new? I don't have a lot of success with them. But I'm hoping to get hold of some, and maybe we'll paint hellebores next week. Can even be hellebores and snowdrops. Okay, have a good week. Take care. Bye.